Greetings to all, and welcome to the Seattle Law of One podcast. You've probably heard about the keto diet, the Mediterranean diet, and the raw foods diet, but have you heard about the raw food diet? Bad jokes aside, what kind of diets have the entities known as raw and quo recommended? What have they said about eating meat versus being vegetarian or vegan? About fasting, about exercise, about consuming alcohol, psychedelic drugs, or whatever other substances we may choose or not to put into our bodies? What are the spiritual principles behind all of this? Let's find out. My name is Jonathan Tong, and I'm facilitator for the Seattle Law of One study group. We can be found in the list of study groups at the LNL research page shown on your screen. We also have a Facebook group, and we do meet on Zoom twice a week, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or our Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. You can contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com to get on our mailing list. We send out emails once a week to let folks know what we're talking about that week, as well as the Zoom links. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of previous podcast episodes, as well as Q&A sessions with Jim McCarty, Austin Bridges, Gary Bean, and Trisha Bean from the LNL Research Channeling team. You can go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications when we upload new videos, and contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com if you would like to sit in on any of our Q&A sessions. As mentioned, today we are talking about the Law of One diet, and we have two very special guests joining us. Panelists, why don't you go ahead and let our viewers know who you are and where you're calling from, starting with Michael.
Yeah. So my name is Michael Brassfield, and we're calling from Bend, Oregon right now. Jump back and forth between Bend and Austin a lot with our crazy life. We have a house in Bend, we have a house in Austin, and then we also have a farm too. So we are just trying to figure that all out right now, but it's a beautiful problem to have.
Hi,
So
and I'm Desiree. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Des.
I'm Desiree, Michael's partner, and we met Jonathan at the Law of One retreat in Seattle this past June. And we realized we both had podcasts, so it'd be interesting to combine forces.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us.
Indeed. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so thanks for hanging out and looking forward to it. I did want to
Of
remind
course.
our viewers, as always, that none of us here are experts on the Law of One or on dieting. We are just normal people like you, having a spiritual conversation about things of spiritual nature that seem important to us. Anything we say could be wrong. You're welcome to disagree with anything that any of us say. If you are already familiar with the Law of One and the entities known as Ra and Quo, you might want to skip ahead to the chapter on general diet tips. Otherwise, for those who are new to the Law of One, you can think of it as a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one and that one thing is love. All the reading passages we're looking at today came to us through the process known as channeling. You can think of channeling as a form of telepathic communication between humans and entities such as angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, interplanes beings, spirits of deceased, higher self, etc. Basically, a channel serves as a mouthpiece for other entities to speak through. And in this case, those entities would appear to be of extraterrestrial origin. There are two types of channeling that have been developed by our friends at LNL Research. Trance channeling is when the channel is in a trance state, meaning they are subconscious or unconscious as if asleep, meaning they are not aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they are saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Ra back in the early 1980s. Conscious channeling is when the channel is in a conscious but deep meditative state, meaning they are only somewhat aware of what words are coming out of their mouths as they are saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Quo, starting in the mid-1980s up to present day. Who is Quo? You can think of Quo as a group entity made up of three social memory complexes: Ra at 6th density, Latui at 5th density, Hatan at 4th density. You can think of a social memory complex as a planetary consciousness. It would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. You can think of densities or dimensions as different levels of consciousness or different levels of reality, since those two things seem to be so closely intertwined. Imagine, if you will, that the elements of earth, fire, water, and air have some form of consciousness, as many indigenous peoples have been saying for centuries that they do. We would call that first density. You can think of second density as the level of consciousness of plants or animals. Clearly, a quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of what we would otherwise refer to as inanimate matter. You can think of third density as the level of consciousness of humans or cetaceans, like whales and dolphins. Again, a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of plants and other animals. You can think of fourth density as the level of consciousness of the social memory complex. Again, as if the entire human population was merged into one group mind. Clearly a quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of one individual person. You can think of fifth density as whatever would be a comparable quantum leap above fourth density, and sixth density as whatever would be a comparable quantum leap above fifth density. It is obviously more complicated than that, but for our purposes, suffice it to say, Quo appears to be an entity made up of three planetary consciousnesses: Ra at sixth density, Latwii at fifth density, Hatan at fourth density. First contact with Quo was made by the L&L research channeling team in 1986, almost 2 years after the end of the Ra contact in 1984. They have been channeled every month since then up to the present day by the L&L research channeling team. You can find transcripts of those sessions in the L&L Conscious Channeling Library shown on your screen. Having said all that, let's take a look at some general diet tips. In session 40, question 14 of the Raw Contact, the questioner asked, in dietary matters, what would be the foods that one would include and what would be the foods that one would exclude in a general way for the most or the greatest care of one's bodily complex? Ra, I am Ra. Firstly, we underline and emphasize that this information is not to be understood literally, but as a link or psychological nudge for the body and the mind and the spirit. Thus, it is the care and respect for the self that is the true thing of importance. In this light, we may iterate the basic information given for this instrument's diet: the vegetables, the fruits, the grains, and to the extent necessary for the individual metabolism, the animal products. These are the substances showing respect for self. Super interesting passage, a lot of interesting thoughts here, and I would just going to go straight to the panelists. Michael, any thoughts, reflections on anything you see here?
And I love this because in my own meditations, like this is kind of the answer that I've also found. It's just like it's your choice and it's your path to pick what's best for your own body, you know. And I love how they're not giving you a dogma of just like you have to eat these things and this specific. It's just like you need to take your path as your own and like just kind of discover for yourself what is best for your body and just be conscious about what you're eating. So I love this. Like it hit really home for me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that same philosophy seems to apply to everything. I don't think they really give any general thing that they say everybody should do, other than meditation. But again, they don't recommend any particular form of meditation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Des? Any thoughts on anything here?
For sure. I like what this says is that basically it comes from your intention and your own consciousness first of what is necessary for you to eat. Like, I think if you don't believe in it, it's not going to have the same effect as if you truly believe in that, okay, these foods are good for my body and I'm eating them because they provide good nourishment for my body and spirit. Rather than just like taking on a dogma of like, someone told me this is what I need to eat. And I maybe don't fully believe in it, or I'm angry that I don't get to eat the nice foods I used to eat. And that's just coming from the wrong place. It's almost like you have to elevate your consciousness first, and then your food, what you choose to eat will also be elevated. It's almost like you have to work it out on the consciousness side first. But I also see the point of like, okay, maybe if you know certain things are not good for you, like processed foods or things like that, I understand like maybe cutting them off early before you actually fully integrate that. But I think, and ultimately for it to be long lasting, that you made this dietary change and this is your new way of living, you have to really consciously believe that it's for your best and like and want to do it. It has to be like not a chore of obligation. It's just like, oh, I want to do this because I want to feel good. I want my body and spirit nourished. So
For
that's
sure.
my take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seems to kind of echo what they're saying in that last sentence at the bottom about these are the substance showing respect for the self. It's an interesting way to put it that I don't think I would have expected to see, but they're just saying whatever you put into your body, things that show respect for yourself, and like maybe unlike junk food, which by definition is junk food, may or may not be showing respect for your body. But are you guys, do you
Yeah, like if you,
follow any
yeah.
particular diets? Are there foods that you eat for sure or steer away from?
I'm trying to become more strict on my diet and eating more organic and just eating more healthy, but that's just coming from like, yeah, just consciously making those decisions. And then if I do eat junk food, I want to eat it in a state of mind where it's just like, this is giving me joy, some kind of comfort, not like I feel shame for eating this. Cause then I feel like it's a double negative, like you're eating junk food and you feel shitty about it. This is like, yeah, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So if I'm going to eat something bad, I'm going to enjoy it while I'm eating it, and then I'm not going to eat it all the time either. It's going to be kind of a special treat for me. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I look at eating junk food or eating something that's kind of off the diet. And also like free food too. Like it's very important from like my biblical perspective. It's just like I think there's a passage in the Bible that just talks about like be okay eating with the food presented to you. If somebody's like hosting you and giving you food, just like don't turn it away just because you have a really strict diet. It's just like bless the food, and just like take that food on, and incorporate that into your diet. So anything that people present to me, kind of free food or like they're hosting me, like I don't want to turn their I don't want to turn their hosts away. So yeah, that's also kind of been in my diet and been trying to be conscious about that. So yeah.
Right.
What a beautiful way to look at it. I don't think I've seen that passage before, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reminds me of Anthony Bourdain. I loved him as a travel
Oh
showman.
yeah,
Yeah,
Went
man.
to
yeah.
Yeah.
The
so many
foodie.
different places and was served so many things, including warthog anus, I believe,
Oh
Yeah.
with the
God.
I would
feces
try it. I would
still on
try
it.
it.
And he still took one for the team. He
Yeah.
still went for it.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, people are showing you themselves when they offer you food and
Exactly.
prepare
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, it's like stopping the flow of giving. If
Hmm.
you just kind of like, oh no, I don't eat this particular thing.
Yeah.
Reason, right? If someone was offering you something
Yeah.
absolutely immoral, then no, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like a cannibal or something. Like, yeah, not like that extreme.
Yeah,
But
I was going to
no,
ask where the line is for you, but
Yeah. There's
we
no
don't need to
shame.
get that into that here.
but like if someone's offering you sweets or something and you don't eat sweets, then it's okay. It's like something very like mild.
Yeah. Still alive though.
There's still a line for sure.
Are you on
And
the
that line
same
can be
diet
different for other
as
people.
Michael, Desi? Do you follow more or
Um,
less the same diet?
I mean, we do eat a lot of meals together, so I think just by that matter, we do have a similar diet. I think I I am maybe like will snack a little bit more than Michael does. But that's maybe the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys vegetarian or vegan?
No, I'm not. Yeah,
No,
we currently we're just trying to get a little bit better with eating
like higher quality
yeah,
meat.
higher quality meat that's been treated a lot more humanely. But I mean, we're still not where I want to be with that. And eventually I do see myself as becoming vegetarian. I've been trying to cook more things that don't have meat in them because I think for me personally, like I would like to evolve to a point where I am vegetarian. I don't think I can give up eggs or cheese. Like I don't
Mhm.
really see that coming through anytime soon or ever, but
Yeah.
meat eventually, yeah, I would like to, yeah, evolve to that.
Nice. Yeah, Miriam and I probably go vegetarian. Oh, we have vegetarian meals at least 2 or 3 times a week, and we
Nice.
usually plan like 3 or 4 meals, and a minimum of one of those is usually vegetarian. Not vegan. We're not quite there yet either, but I think
Yeah,
we kind of feel the same way about animal ethics as you do.
yeah.
Which is probably a good segue into our next topic. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say on this screen before I change the screen? Cool. Well, let's take a look at a couple passages on being vegetarian or vegan. On October 16th, 2010, the group question was, it is understood among many spiritual seekers that except in cases of humane slaughter, our second density friends are routinely mistreated and abused in the process of converting their physical bodies into our meat foodstuffs. Specifically, then, to what extent is the positively oriented entity responsible for the suffering of second density creatures when purchasing and consuming the meat of these animals? Quo probably said I am quo at the beginning of this, and I probably just left that part off for brevity.
All good.
They go on to say, we notice that you focus upon meat and the eating of it as the arena of choice. And before we address that question, we would note that not only the animals, but the plants also are growing within the creation of the Father, blooming and dying at a rhythm of their own. In a very real way, it is as much of an offense, one may say, to pluck a bean or dig a potato from the ground as it is to slaughter an animal, for you have interrupted the cycle of its life and its dancing with the Creator as you do so. But to focus upon this is to digress from your query, and so we would focus upon the slaughter of animals and the responsibility that an entity has if he chooses to eat meat. One valid choice that many of those who have awakened have made is not to eat meat and to find ways to furnish the body with the protein that meat offers by eating other substances, such as legumes, which contain protein. Another choice that an awakened entity has, as the questioner said, is to move to the purchase only of meats that have been humanely slaughtered. There are two sources of such meats that are generally available to entities within a reasonable amount of distance from where they live. One is to seek out a kosher store which sells meat, knowing that the priests of that religion have treated animals well and have slaughtered them in a sacred ritual, which is taken most seriously by those priests. Beautiful passage here, and I definitely appreciate the noting that taking the life of a plant is not necessarily on a metaphysical level really any different or better than taking the life of an animal. And I like the talk about humane slaughter, and would only add halal meat shops also, I would say, equally good about preparing, raising animals and humanely slaughtering them. And farmers market, probably a good place to go if that's an option for you to also get animals that have been raised in better places than factory farming. Desi, any thoughts on anything here?
Yes. So I think the whole meat thing is like I'm trying to get to the point where I'm like more intentional about like where I'm sourcing the meat, but it's like out of convenience sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I'll just get it at HEB or at the grocery store, and it's just like I need to be more work towards that of just like, okay, maybe I do go out to a farmer's market, or maybe I do go to a kosher store, halal, and maybe I pay more, and that's kind of like showing more respect to that animal instead of, oh, I'll just go to get the cheapest meat from a factory farm and that has the least amount of respect for this animal. Um, but
Yeah, we're not there yet.
yeah,
Miriam and I still eat meat regularly, and we
yeah,
still get it from the Fred Meyer grocery store. And when organic is an option, we'll go for organic because hopefully it's a little more ethically better. But from what I understand, yeah, the organic labeling, if it's not the official like government organic label, they can do whatever they want, and it's not the least bit organically raised.
right. And
Even
sometimes
with
they aren't actually organic. Yeah, but
Yeah, and even with
one
the
thing I was going to say
official
about the
organic label, yeah, it doesn't mean
yeah.
they're getting outside more than like 2 minutes a day or something.
Right. The only way we would know if you knew the farmer who raised the cow and you were like, okay, I know I've been to his farm. This is how he does it. That's the only way I think you would really know for sure. And maybe that would be a more personable relationship where like I'm getting my meat from a source that I know, and I know this person has good intentions rather than from an unknown,
Yeah.
you know. One thing I was going to say about the plants is that um like for example, if you eat fruit from a tree, you're not killing the tree. And if anything, you're only doing a service to the tree because like by you ingesting the seeds and if you were pooping in the wild, I guess you're planting another tree.
Which I don't. Yeah.
I don't I use a toilet, but like I guess animals when they eat fruit from a tree and then they go fly somewhere or scurry somewhere and then they shit, I guess. They're helping that tree, propagate or move around. So I feel like I mean, there are maybe some vegetables where you actually do eat the whole plant. I'm not sure exactly which ones those are, but I feel like the ones where you pluck a fruit I don't feel like you're really hurting the living being, because those fruits would also just fall to the
Right.
ground if you didn't pick them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in that sense, I don't equate it to like your. And the other
Right.
thing is, like, I don't know if plants feel. I don't know if you cut a leaf of a plant, does it feel like I feel? Does it hurt? Like, I feel like no one really knows that. I don't know how we would even know if that's true. But just a
No,
thought.
but I know it was very traditional practice for indigenous peoples, and I'm thinking of Native Americans in particular, when they're out gathering medicines or gathering plants, that they do ask the plant for permission to take a
Yeah,
leaf
that's
Mm,
or
beautiful.
something from it, and maybe even to offer some tobacco or something in return. So I don't know.
yeah. I
Michael,
think you had
any
another
thoughts?
passage a minute ago. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just see the thing still like coming through mostly is just like being conscious about what you're putting in your body, and then like thinking about the entity on the other side of that, and in not like putting like like it seems like a hierarchy of like animals are more important than plants. Plants can't really feel anything, and just like kind of just like kind of getting away from that, and just like everything should be respected and loved and cared about.
Mhm.
Even like the plants, it's just like, yeah, how do we not know that the plant wants to be eaten or not? Like we feel that in an animal, like of course, like it doesn't want to be slaughtered and killed, but how do we know? How are we so okay with like eating vegetables? Like we're not even thinking like maybe this plant is feeling something here.
Right.
So, and we've kind of gotten to a little bit of a debate in our Law of One group, one of our
In
first,
Austin.
yeah, our first meetings that we had, because there were some very strong vegetarians and vegans in there that are just really advocating for no slaughtering. And then there was other like meat eaters in there that were advocating how it is kind of the same, or like it's not, it's maybe more humane to hunt and kill yourself or be involved in the process, which I believe like that's what I would like to get to, is like if I am eating meat, I need to be the one that's actually killing it. So I'm not so disconnected from that morality of the whole yeah process. So it's like I would like to hunt myself or raise my own animals if I am choosing to eat, and not just like outsource that out to somebody, that guilt and that shame, and put it in like to a
Yeah.
feed lot or anything like that. Like I would like to be the one that is like really just taking on that karma of whatever I'm getting from that. So yeah, so we had that kind of debate, and this is one of the coolest thing that I loved about the Law of One group, and this made me really want to go to all of our book clubs, because we do in-person book clubs in Austin, Texas. And it was just everybody handled it really well. Everybody stood their ground, but they were very respectful of everybody else's opinions. It didn't like devolve into like a huge debate of just like, oh, this is way too heated, but it was like really well handled. And I was like, man, this is a really mature group of people that can
Mhm.
like hear a different perspective and not get so triggered by it, or like hate one another, and can still hang out, and we still love each other afterwards. But it was like a really intense debate at the same time. So it was just
Right.
like it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing to be able to do that. I would think that's a great
Yeah.
help to our planet to be able to have those kind of disagreements, but to still be able to do it in
Yeah.
harmony.
Right.
You probably
Yeah.
forgot to should have mentioned you are part of the Austin Law of One study group, and they are on the list of study groups,
Yes.
that LNL research page that I showed at the beginning. Nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
sounds
have
great.
like 10, or I don't know, like 15 or so people. Yeah.
Yeah. We meet mostly like bi-weekly. Yeah.
Bi-weekly.
Sometimes weekly. Seems
And
like,
we
yeah.
we hop around, we'll meet at different people's houses, we'll host, and so it's really nice to just get to know everyone and see where their living space. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's nice.
That's cool. So those are in-person meetings, not on
They're
Zoom.
in
Yes. Yeah.
person, and
That's so
we
awesome.
we just pick a topic, and then we'll discuss that or find passages from that topic. So it's not like we're reading the book cover to cover. It's more topic based.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I would really encourage our viewers to go to the LNL research site, and I think it's the Connect tab at the top. Find the list of study groups, and yeah, there's study groups all over the country and many places around the world, in Europe and Asia and elsewhere. And yeah, find a group that you vibe with, and guaranteed
Yeah.
good
Or if
time.
you're visiting Austin, come join in on a
Oh
session.
yeah.
You're more than welcome to. Also
Please.
that,
Yeah.
you know,
And you don't have to know a lot about Law of One. Sometimes we get people who have never
brand
really heard
new.
about it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, ooh, I would love to visit Austin sometime. That looks like a
Yeah.
fun, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Did want to also note that, yeah, strongly agree with what Michael was saying. Kudos to folks who hunt their own meat and their own food. I have great respect for that, and I agree. I would love to get to a point where raising our food, growing our food, getting the meat ourselves. Definitely not there yet. I'm not even going to, we have halal markets not that far from where we live. We have
Right.
farmers markets like 5 fucking minutes away once a week. And I'm still not willing to put in the effort to go get the meat there. So I will deal with that in my post-incarnation review and see
in your life
if I
review.
get dinged for that. But doing the best I can in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which maybe is a good segue into the next slide. I think in the same session, they also talk a little bit about how to relate to the food that you're eating. Did you guys have anything else to say on this slide or this passage before I change the screen?
It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sad.
So this is, again, also from the same session. Quo said, there is always the metaphysically correct choice of relating to the animal and that timeless condition, which is called metaphysical time, wherein all things occur simultaneously, so that you are able to contact any animal before you eat it, no matter how abused or how slaughtered. And as you contact this animal, you express your love of this animal in your appreciation for animal and that for all that animal has gone through in order to give you its energy, its consciousness such as it is, and its love, which is very real. So in praise, prayer, and thanksgiving, you heal the division between you and the meat and the animal from which that meat came. And as you do this to your meat, dancing with the meat, becoming one with the meat, you are in effect lifting that energy to the infinite creator, blessing it and healing all that has gone before for the animal and for you. Indeed, we would note that it is not only the eating of the meat, but every single action undertaken by you, no matter how humble or small, that has the capability and potentiality of becoming sacred, so that you at all times are giving thanks, offering praise, and opening to the experiences that have been given to you to walk in. Such a beautiful passage, and again, like so many other passages that I see from Quo and from Wa, so inspiring, not judgmental, not dogmatic, not making people feel guilty or afraid or ashamed. I love everything that's here. And I do want to say, Miriam and I both say grace before we have meals. We do it silently to ourselves. And I usually am giving thanks to the animals and the plants and the people and the nature spirits and the elements that all gave their lives and their consciousness to feed my body this way. And I do ask them to be blessed and to be healed of all the pain and suffering that they had to go through, and ask that we all be one in the love and light of the one infinite creator. It's a little different every time I say it, but that's usually the gist of it. Do you guys have any sort of prayer blessing that you say before meals, Michael?
Yeah, we try to hold hands, and we just do like a silent kind of meditation for ourselves. We don't like verbally speak out, but we're not against that either. It's just just something that's it's just been like a kind of quiet meditation and thankfulness in your own kind of words in your own head, and connecting with that higher self and then the creator, and just being thankful for another meal, you know.
Right.
And like from this passage, like this is just, like you hit the nail on the head. This is like so beautiful. It's not like giving you something to be shameful about. Is like giving you options. Is like, of course you can choose, and but also I love the option, like no matter what you can afford or what you can eat, you can always pray. You can always be conscious about what it took to get that food on your table, and like the animals or the plants that were involved in that, you can also just like show them love, and from a timeless state where love can just like even go back to the time where they were alive, you know. So it's just like you can still bless that animal from any point, and you don't have to have like the nicest food if you can't afford it. If you can afford it, maybe you should, but at the same time, if you can't, it gives you an option to still just be conscious about it and not have shame about it, and just bring in that love and light. So yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, well said, for sure. Desi, go for it.
Yeah, I love just the amount of options that you're given, that it's like, yeah, of course, maybe the highest would be just don't eat any animal products. Next would be only have kosher animal products or ethically raised animal products. And then last being like, maybe not even in that order, not necessarily like a hierarchy, but just like different options. Like say if you can't afford a higher quality of meat, or maybe you're being given a meat at a meal and you don't want to turn it down, that you can always bless the food, that there's always some action you can take, even if there's been a wrong, that you can almost like make amends for that entity that gave itself over to you for your nourishment. And yeah, I do love our silent meditations before we eat. We even include our daughter Misha, who's 2, so we all hold hands, and it's nice to see her like kind of almost like close her eyes too.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, she understands. It's like a little, and she's not even 2 yet. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great way to model it again without being dogmatic about it, but
Yep.
just letting her see that
Yeah.
this is something we do in a spiritual way that
Right.
is good, seems like a good thing. Yeah, I definitely like that last part in the last paragraph where they're saying it's really not just eating meat. I mean, anything that you do can be sacred. Anything that you do
Right.
non-food related can be something to be giving thanks for and to offer praise and to make it sacred. Beautiful thing. I know when I'm smoking cannabis, I offer the same prayer. I still do for the plants and
me
the people
too,
and
yeah.
spirits and everyone who gave their lives and consciousness for me to have that experience. Yeah, definitely give thanks for that.
Yeah.
Mother Earth.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. I think we're getting to that in a future passage. I just felt like throwing it in at the moment.
For sure.
Did you guys have anything to add on this passage or any other thoughts?
Yeah, it's just like the ending, like every single action undertaken by you is like sometimes we just think we should just be praying at certain times of the day, but it's just like even Jesus says pray continuously, and that doesn't mean just like you're sitting on your knees just praying, but just being conscious that the infinite creator exists and love and light exists. So everything that you do is almost a prayer in and of itself. So yeah, I just like love that it's reinforced here that everything you do needs to be a conscious, loving decision.
Yeah, and I think intentionality is important. Like when you're moving through life, that you have intention to your actions, that you're not just like an automaton, just like, oh, I just do this because this is what everyone else does, or because that there's some sort of like consciousness there. Be like, oh, why am I doing these things? And how do I want to do this to serve others in the highest way? And just have that thought behind all your actions, whether that's eating or, interacting with others, that you always have that intentionality of like, okay, what are the intentions behind my actions and how will they affect others? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they mean when they refer to work in consciousness, a phrase that they have used 100, 200 times to refer to many different things. But I think, like you said, it means being conscious of what you're doing rather than just unconsciously sleepwalking, for sure. I appreciate what you said about love, because yes, that's something I hadn't really thought of yet in going through this passage. And I think that is a super important thing, that everything you do can have love in it. Every single moment has eternity in it. And when you imbue whatever you're doing with love and you're consciously thinking of doing what you're doing with love as an expression, everything can be sacred. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it matters like how you do something, like if you have a good feeling about it. I think it's easier to follow a diet when you like genuinely feel this is good and of service than if you're just doing it from a dogmatic stance where your consciousness hadn't caught up to believing that. I think it'll come naturally. Like becoming vegetarian will happen when my consciousness gets to a level where that's what I want to do, and I'm not fighting some sort of like battle with like, oh, but I want to eat meat. It'll just happen when it's time.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate what you said a little while back about like enjoying whatever it is that you're doing, because if you're on a diet and you're not really enjoying it, I think that's the trap that so many people fall into. They can lose weight, but they're going to get it back at some point. If they're not really enjoying that diet, it's just a matter of time before it comes back.
Agreed.
It's part of the process. Which I think would be a great segue into our next topic. Why don't we go ahead and look at a few passages on fasting? In session 40, question 14, Ra said, in addition, though this has not been mentioned, for this instrument is not in need of purification, those entities in need of purging the self of a poisoned thought form or emotion complex do well to take care in following a program of careful fasting until the destructive thought form has been purged, analogously with the byproducts of ridding the physical body of excess material. Again, you see the value not to the body complex, but used as a link for the mind and spirit. Thus, self reveals self to self. And in session 41, question 21, Ra said, "This, as all healing techniques, must be used by a conscious being, that is, a being conscious that the ridding of excess and unwanted material from the body complex is the analogy to the ridding of the mind or spirit of excess or unwanted material. Thus, the one discipline or denial of the unwanted portion as an appropriate part of the self is taken through the tree of mind, down through the trunk to subconscious levels where the connection is made, and thus the body, mind, and spirit then, in unison, express denial of the excess or unwanted spiritual or mental material as part of the entity. All then falls away, and the entity, while understanding, if he will, and appreciating the nature of the rejected material as part of the greater self, nevertheless, through the action of the will, purifies and refines the mind-body-spirit complex, bringing into manifestation the desired mind complex or spirit complex attitude." Questioner: then would this be like a conscious reprogramming of a catalyst? For instance, for some entities, catalyst is programmed by the higher self to create experiences so that the entity can release itself from unwanted biases. Would this be analogous then to the entity consciously programming this release and using fasting as the method of communicating to itself? Ra: I am Ra. This is not only correct, but may be taken further. The self, if conscious to a great enough extent of the workings of this catalyst and the techniques of programming, may, through concentration of the will and the faculty of faith alone, cause reprogramming without the analogy of the fasting, the diet, or other analogous body complex disciplines. I really appreciate how in these passages, kind of like they did a few passages back, they're saying that whatever you're doing with your body or dieting is really more about the spirit of it than the physical part of it. So the analogy of fasting to get rid of physical stuff in your body is really analogous to getting rid of mental thought. I forget what they call them, thought forms or emotion complexes that you're trying
Thought
to.
forms, yeah.
Yeah, super fascinating. Any thoughts on this, Desi? Have you done any fasting or any thoughts, experiences to share on this?
For sure. I have done fasting. I think the longest I've fasted has been maybe like 30 hours or a day and a half, like 36 hours. But there have been times when I've fasted and then I got sick, I would just like throw up. I don't know and then just like not throwing up anything, right? Because there's nothing in my stomach. So I do think that fasting, you have to take it at your own pace and what your body's ready for. I don't think you can go from having a bad diet and then like, oh, I'm going to fast for 5 days. It might just be almost like too harsh on your body to kind of like work up to it. And men and women are different too, as far as fasting goes. So you have to just be aware of your body. But the Essene Gospel of Peace also talks about how Jesus says, like, if you have some sort of like negative thought form, something that's plaguing you in kind of a spiritual way, that fasting is one of the methods to kind of rid your body of that, which is interesting because it's like, it's not just a physical thing of like, oh, I'm getting rid of my fat or toxins in my body. It's like, no, I'm getting rid of something spiritual, I guess, can also be purged out through that. And I think maybe your body, because it's not digesting, it has the strength, I guess, the reserves of energy to kind of rid itself of things that are not necessary, rather than just like constantly digesting because you're eating all the time. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, this would be another example of Ra not being dogmatic about saying, yes, everyone should fast. They're just saying, if you feel like you've got something that you're trying to get rid of, then this would be one way to do it, but don't have to.
Right.
Michael, I seem to remember you talking about fasting on one or more of your podcasts. Is this something you've done more than once or twice?
Yeah, more than once or twice, but I'm not at the level to where I'm doing it regularly enough that, but I don't know, this could just be something in my head that I think I need to do instead of like a really conscious decision that's just like inspiring me to do. So that could just be some kind of spiritual ego telling me that I have to do this thing. But yeah, I would like to be a little bit more disciplined, even with just like eating when I know I'm actually hungry instead of just eating just because I'm bored or something like that. Like that kind of goes into fasting of just like really kind of listening to, well, your body and your spirit kind of in tandem trying to tell you when you should take on nourishment, and not just, yeah, just unconsciously doing that. But it all goes back to like the first line is like, this must be used by a conscious being. So intentionality and like knowing why you're doing it is the most important thing. And then I love like they tell you how it's important. It's like it's tool to help you like either rid yourself of negative thought forms or heal your body. But at the end of the day, it's like, all of this can be done just through thought alone, just through your own mind. You don't, it's just a tool. Like fasting is just a tool to help you concentrate your will and your focus. But at the end of the day is like you can reprogram this within your mind at any point, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. I have not fasted in quite a while, in a number of years, but there was a number of years where I was fasting 1 day a week for Lent when my wife and I were both exercising that. And there's times I've fasted before for Vision Quests a couple of times, but can't say any of those times I was really trying to get rid of any particular thought forms. I think I was really just doing it as a spiritual discipline, just to deny my body something that I knew my body wanted for a short period of time, a day, just to strengthen the spirit. And I
Yeah, and
suppose
just to have like oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I suppose it helped, but I don't know if it really made me a better person in particular. And now I'm eating junk food all the time. So whatever good things came out of that, I think I've pretty well erased since then.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Michael?
Oh, just getting the experience. Like when you hear about something, of course you don't want to do it unconsciously, but you need to try that and have your own experience with it too. So it's like that was kind of like what led me to fast. I hear how important it is. Like I don't have the experience of knowing why it's really important, but it's also something you maybe need to try when you hear it from a lot of like credible sources and things that you respect. And then the stories that I've heard, even just like at the Law of One conference, of just people being able to heal their bodies from incurable diseases by going on like a 14-day fast and just like really just, I don't know, focusing your willpower into like, no, I can heal through this. I don't believe in like these limiting beliefs that the doctors tell me. It's like, I know that there's a God spark inside of me. I know that everything is possible. I know that I can heal from anything. And just like taking that into like a really disciplined like exercise such as fasting is just like, it's cool to see those results on the other side of that. And it's just like, man, that's so inspiring that these things have helped people that I've met before. And I can obviously see just how they talk about it. It's like it's changed their life dramatically. So yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can totally see how somebody might feel like they have a lot of toxins in their body from all the processed foods and all the chemicals they were exposed to. So to do a detox and a juice cleanse, as it was, to clean out the body and maybe start fresh, I can totally see the benefits and the power to that. For sure. Do you have anything to add, Desi? Any other thoughts on this?
Let's see. Yeah, I think that basically your state of consciousness, I feel like, is primary in this. Like, if you're eating a salad, but you're eating it like in a sad way, and you're like sad that you're eating the salad and you wish you had a cookie, I feel like that also adds like a weird energetic to the food you're ingesting. Versus like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna eat a cookie, but I'm really happy about eating this cookie. I feel like it's almost better for you than eating like a sad salad. Yeah.
Indeed.
And don't get me wrong, I love salads. Like it's just like, and it's also just like experimenting with like trying healthy foods and having them in a way that's that you like, that tastes good to you. You have to try new things to find what is healthy that you will enjoy eating, and it won't feel like a chore or something out of obligation, like something that you actually want to eat. Yeah.
It is nice that I believe the technology for making plant-based meat substitutes has definitely gotten better in the last 10, 20 years. I know Impossible Burgers are delicious. I know Miriam and I love Impossible Burgers, plant-based burgers that taste a lot like eating burger. I enjoy those about as much as I do a regular burger. Hot dogs, not quite so much. That's definitely, if you're trying to compare it to a meat hot dog, you're going to be disappointed. But if you just enjoy it
Right.
for its own sake, then I suppose it could. But Haven't gotten to that point
Yeah.
yet. Do you guys
Yeah,
eat
I've tried
much
Impossible
tofu or
Burgers.
yeah, do you guys eat
I've
much
tried them.
of that?
I have in the past tried those things, but I'm a little wary just because I know some of them are made with like seed oils. And
Hmm.
so Michael and I have been trying to like cut seed oils out of our diet. Not strictly, like there's definitely, I still like eating Dots pretzels and I'm sure they have seed oils in them. But I do know that a
What's the
lot of
deal
those
with
like
seed
plant,
oils? That's a new thing to me.
um,
What's the problem?
yeah. So basically what I understand is that they're not good for you and they cause your gut to leak. And so it's not, yeah, you want to avoid things that have seed oils. But unfortunately, a lot of those like plant-based meat alternatives, I think you can double check me on this, Mike, um, have a lot of seed oils in them. But they're in everything, you know, anytime you get chips, all these like processed foods, a lot of them have seed oils. If you go to a restaurant, most of the time they're going to cook with canola oil or, you know, and so these are things that your body is not really meant to digest or it's not digested well.
So I was going to
Do you have
ask
anything
you
to add,
what
Michael, on like
examples of seed oils would be. So canola would be a seed oil, and corn oil would be a seed.
yeah, like vegetable oil, canola oil, like the oils that are healthier for you are like
Oh,
avocado
yeah,
or
olive oil and
olive oil,
yeah.
avocado oil. So we do try to find products that have those, but they're honestly very hard to find. Like if you're just looking in like the snack aisle, like all that stuff is gonna have like seed oils for the most part. Like we give our daughter these like seaweed snacks, and it's very seldom, but like they do sell them with avocado oil, so that's the ideal. But a lot of them do just have vegetable oil.
So you feel
Yeah.
differently in your body when you take in those seed oils?
We tried to do like a few weeks of like trying to cut out all seed oil, but then you know we reverted back to like, oh, I want my little snack that has. So I feel like I did feel better, but I don't think I did it for a long enough time to really get all the benefits or notice. You know, I wasn't consistent. I was still having it here and there, maybe just less.
Hmm.
But that's one of the things we've tried to do is like cut out seed oils.
Oh, interesting. I will.
Yeah, and this is like kind of one of the things that you hear a lot from like a lot of like healthy circles and people that you respect that are like really caring about their health. But it's not something that I've like really like super embodied or know about. The thing. It's like I just hear seed oils are bad, and it's like okay, well I'll try to cut it from my diet. Just like I've heard like gluten is bad, so I'll cut it out from my diet just to see. It's like I want to experiment with my body, just like I do with psychedelics. You know, I want to experiment with the diet that I put in just to see how it makes me feel afterwards. Even just like eating a cookie or a salad, you might feel really good eating 10 cookies at the beginning, but maybe later you'll feel like shit. But maybe you'll feel shitty as you're eating the salad, but you'll feel great later on. So it's just like really just kind of like taking notes of like how do I feel after? How do I feel before? So it's like when I hear a new kind of diet fad, I'll just immediately think, is this something that I want to try or not? So like the seed oil things is like one of them that I'm trying to do, but I really don't know the advantages or disadvantages. But I just looked it up on Chat GPT now and I could read a couple of them if you want me to.
Yeah,
Go for it.
sure.
Okay, so this says the main problem with seed oils, like high in omega-6 fatty acids, seed oils are rich in linoleic acid, and it can cause like promote inflammation and stuff like that. So, and most seed oils are made using chemical solvents, like hexane. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound that appetizing. And like the process can damage delicate fats and create oxidized compounds. And then, yeah, cooking with seed oils may create toxic byproducts. So, I mean, this is just things that ChatGPT is saying, but this is not things that I actually know. I'm just kind of regurgitating at this point and just experimenting with my own body as I hear things come out. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
anything that's
looking
like
that up.
overly processed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's news to me. So appreciate the sharing. At least it doesn't cause anal leakage, which was a thing for a while.
Oh,
You guys have never heard of Olestra by any chance, have you?
is that a
no.
diet drug that you leak stuff out of
No,
your?
no,
Okay.
it was a thing back in the, I don't remember when it was, maybe 1990s. It was a supposedly better form of cholesterol, some sort of oil
Mm,
substitute that they were putting in potato chips and fried foods.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
just like
Okay.
all
And
the
then,
pharmaceutical drug side effects you hear about, they said that it may cause anal leakage. And
Oh
for some
man.
reason,
Yeah.
that proved to be a deal breaker for the chip
Yeah.
buying public. Did
Oof.
not
Yeah, that's
last
not
long.
good. And then
Because
it
I
gives
like
a
Pringles
list
as much as
of
the next guy, but yeah, fuck the anal leakage. I could do
I don't
without
want
that.
that.
Yeah.
And this gives a list of like common sea oils that you may be concerned about, and then healthy alternatives just to help people out, just to actually have something to go off of. So the ones that they're saying that might have concerns with these problems of additives or just like, yeah, making inflammation in you are soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, and grapeseed oil. So those are the ones that might have the problem with people we're talking about. But the healthier alternatives would be like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, butter or ghee if you can tolerate like dairy, and then like beef tallow or lard, but that's coming from animal fats.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, so we're trying to
Yeah,
stick to
those
the
all
more
sound like
healthy
higher
alternatives.
cholesterol oils to me, I think.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I
So
think anything
A
that's like
trade-off,
overly
perhaps.
processed,
hmm
I'm wary of because I feel like I don't think God or the creator would make it to where in order to live well and eat well, you have to process something a bunch. I would
hmm
feel like whatever you're like getting something a fruit from a tree or like um solid, something that's like direct from nature and like fewer processes that we've added to it is probably on average better for you, is
hmm
my thought. So if it takes like all these processes and chemicals in order to produce this vegetable oil, then it's my theory is it's probably
hmm
not very good.
Yeah.
But
Hence the raw foods diet, the RAW raw
yes,
foods diet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely
right. But
with
it
you. And
seems
I think,
yeah.
that's how the whole health food industry started back in the 1970s. I think with the hippie movement of the 60s, there was a growing awareness of wanting to get back to the earth and eating things that are more
Mhm.
natural and less processed. So,
Yeah.
with you on that. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at another set of passages on something we have talked about already, and that is physical body versus the energy body. On May 28th, 2006, Kuo said, what affects the energy body most is the thoughts that one has. Therefore, if one is improving one's diet and is happy about it, the information of the improved diet moves into the chakra body as good news. If, on the other hand, an entity is plodding through a dietary regimen that is prescribed for an illness, but that entity is unhappy and feels constricted by this regimen, then the information that is given to the chakra body will be quite different. It will seem like a negative thing to the chakra body rather than a positive thing. For the chakra body is not listening to the doctor, nor is it listening to ideas that contain the word should. It is only listening to the feelings and the thought forms involved in the translation of physical effects into the feelings and then sensations of the body. A happy heart is more helpful to the chakra system than a good diet. A peaceful mind is more helpful to the chakra system than exercise. There are times when it is wise to follow the needs of the electrical body and the chakra system rather than the needs of the physical body. We encourage all of those who must guard their health by means of diet, exercises, and other regimens of this kind, never to let duty press out the joy from the life. No matter how essential it is that the right things are eaten and the right things are avoided in a diet, or how important various exercises are in looking at the health of the entire organism, the faculty of joy is primary. Super beautiful passage, and I would think our viewers who are watching this will find some encouragement and not worrying so much about eating foods and exercising and doing things that they don't enjoy doing. The chakra body that they're referring to here is the chakras or the energy centers as they're referred to in the Law of One. Chakras, of course, being an old ancient Hindu tradition about different energy centers in the body. And I think they're really kind of referring to your energy body as opposed to your physical body. So the idea that the attitudes you have towards what you're eating are in some ways more important than how healthy it is, that thing that you're eating. I just find that super encouraging, super interesting. Michael, do you have any thoughts on anything here?
Oh man, the first thing that like popped into my mind was like how powerful the mind is, like the placebo effect, even within science. It's just like you can take a pill and it can just like change your body, but there's just a sugar pill. So it just
Hmm.
shows the power of the mind. And we even have that documented in mainstream science. So it's like for them to reinforce this and like take it to the next level is just like, yeah, so exciting that we have the power within us.
Indeed. Desi?
Yeah, it just reiterates to me that consciousness is primary, that like the physical like just like how we say, like if you're familiar with what is the water guy, Emoto?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like
Have
that.
you heard of this Emoto, right? Where he spoke
Yes.
to the water kind words and like then he froze the water and he noticed that the water that he spoke good words to and prayed over had like very structured crystalline structures, and then the water that he yelled at or said hateful things to was disjointed or like. And so I was like, okay, there's something about like you can change the matter just by your own consciousness imbuing it with like gratitude or thanks or like sacredness. So even if you're eating the same physical thing, your consciousness has a way to shift. It's even something that can be measured in a physical way, like the whole water um differences. So I think that's just really cool. The power of our minds is incredible.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. Yeah, for sure. And I'm guessing most of ours are viewers are familiar with Dr. Emoto. I
Dr.
can't
Emoto,
remember
yeah.
his first name, but yeah, beautiful photographs of water crystals that, as you said, when they were given positive thoughts, formed really beautiful crystalline formations, and when given negative thoughts, were what could be described as negative looking, nasty crystal formations.
Yeah. Mhm.
Don't know. That has, of course, been not accepted by mainstream science, and I'm not really here to comment one way or the other on it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a beautiful thought. And I know Quo has said
Mhm.
many times that that is a special property of water, that it does receive consciousness and
Mhm.
can be blessed in ways that we were just talking about. So I'm happy to accept that as truth. Do you guys have
Yeah.
any other thoughts on anything here? I'm certainly reminded of what we said about diet, that if you're on a
Yeah.
diet to
Yeah.
lose weight, for example, and you're just not really enjoying the diet, you're just doing it so you can lose weight, you very may well succeed at losing a lot of pounds. But if you're not really enjoying the diet, it's really just a matter of
Mhm.
time before you like ditch the diet and go
Ditch
back
it,
to the
yeah.
same weight. Yeah. And I don't think
Yeah.
that's
But
necessarily
also,
a bad thing.
yeah, also something else that I was thinking is just like being like having those traditional biblical roots and just like yeah, I don't know, just being obsessed with the Bible when I was younger. I think about Jesus as like how he heals people is like your faith has healed you. He's not saying I'm healing you. He's always telling people that your faith in me to heal you, that's what actually healed you. So it's all comes back down to what you believe is actually helping you, and that can help you. And then the other thing that I was thinking is like that line that says, "Never let duty press out the joy from the life." Like that goes way beyond me and Des were having this conversation just about like things with relationships, things between friends. When you feel obligated to do something and there's like no joy in doing the thing, it's just like then you're just setting yourself up for failure. So it goes way beyond diet of just like you have to do things out of joy and out of love or
Mhm.
don't really do them at
Or
all,
don't
you
do
know.
them.
Yeah.
You don't, yeah, it's not in your consciousness to do the
Hmm.
thing that maybe you want to be doing that
Hmm.
thing and you think it's the right thing, but somehow your body or consciousness hasn't elevated itself to actually fully believing that. And so it
Hmm.
becomes a chore rather than out of joy.
Yeah, like a goodism kind of thing, you know.
Yeah,
You're
it's like
just
you're
doing it to appear like
to
a good
appear
person, you
good,
know.
but
It's like that kind of manipulation in a way.
it's
It's
not
like I want to
authentic.
look good. Yeah, it's not authentic. Exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Really powerful lesson. I really appreciate your sharing that. I had not thought of that, but yes, that makes sense 100%. And I can think of at least one quote passage I read where they said basically what you just said. A lot of people like to do things to be of service to others, but if you're not actually doing it with love in it, then it's not really doing anything that you hope to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
It gets
Exactly.
distorted and
Mhm.
it's not as pure. It's not a pure act.
Yeah.
Um, can I add
Well, it
one
goes
more?
back to what they said in the very first session. The first thing that they said in the first, one of the first things they said in the first session was that, have you thought about the thoughts that you thought today? And how many of those thoughts
Mm,
did you have today
yeah.
were centered in love and the one original thought? And
Mm,
just, again, a good reminder of what you were talking about before about whatever you do, regardless of whether it has to do with eating or whatever, do it with love makes all the difference in the world.
Right. One thing I was going to add is that I think that certain foods and nourishments are better for your energy body and not as beneficial for your physical body. So you can kind of be aware of there's a balance. Like you still need this physical body to, move around the earth and experience your catalyst. So you have to keep it in mind. But certain things are like you're feeding your energetic body and not so much your physical. Like like fasting, for example, it's like it's feeding your energetic body, maybe not as much your physical. Um, or like eating meats probably is really good, maybe more so depending on your metabolism for your physical, but not good for your spirit body. So it's kind of like balancing of, I think, which body needs more nourishment at the time. Like if you're heavily malnourished, maybe it is better to eat protein to kind of build up your physical body. But if you're more like, okay, my body is in a good state, I just need to focus on my spiritual, maybe that's fasting, maybe that's being a breatharian or whatnot. So it's like depending on which body you're focusing on, your diet could be different.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it also cannot be emphasized enough that we are literally living through the apocalypse. We are literally in the end days of planet Earth in third density, at least. And that means things are hyper polarized, things are hyper intense in what would appear to be negative ways. And that, yeah, you might want to cut yourself some slack and, have that second bag of chips. If you want, eat the goddamn cookie. It's the end of the world, for God's sake. Chill out and enjoy.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on this before we look at one last topic, I believe?
No, man, you drop the mic on, chill out and enjoy. So,
Right.
yeah.
If I had a mic, yeah, in my hand.
Yeah.
Well, loving the conversation and looking forward to the next topic. Let's take a look at a couple passages on alcohol, drugs, etc. On December 17th, 2016, Quo said, "The effect on the spiritual seeker of these various intoxicants is quite various, to be honest. There is not one particular rule of thumb, shall we say, or practice that would pertain to each entity. For some, in wine, it is truly said, in vino veritas, there is truth there. For some entities, the ability to release the cares of the day and to become, shall we say, high or drunken, is a way to find the inner self for a moment or two and to allow this inner child to play. For others who have different personalities, it is difficult to undertake such experiences without suffering the more deleterious effects of the addictive nature of such substances to certain personalities. In this case, the learning and potential lies within the obverse experience, that is, to discover a reason to not use such substances. Thus, we cannot give you a general rule that is applicable for all entities." I know this is a question that comes up for every Law of One seeker at some point, whether it's okay to smoke weed or drink alcohol or take mushrooms or acid or, whatever you name it. And I like how here, yet again, they're saying every soul is unique, every spiritual journey is unique. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for everyone or anyone else. What works for anyone or everyone else doesn't necessarily work for you. You just kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Really love and respect and appreciate that. Do you have any thoughts on this, Desi?
Yeah, I mean, what I love about it is that it's not dogmatic, that really the primary thing is knowing yourself really well so that you know what you need and it not relying on an external to tell you, oh, well, this is how you should live. And being self-aware, I think that's important. I think some people, maybe the lack of self-awareness, they don't notice that, oh, when I drink alcohol, I go a little overboard and, I go past the point of it just being um, a social lubricant to just kind of like be a little more open and more honest. And I think if it's used in that way, I think it serves a higher purpose. But if it's overdone or you get sloppy or you commit things that, you wish you hadn't, then I feel like you have to know yourself enough to know like what's the ideal amount for me. Nothing's a little bit, and yeah, it's just knowing yourself is primary here to know what is good nourishment for you, whether that's drugs or food, things that you bring into your body. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. Could not agree more. Anything to add, Michael?
Oh yeah, I just once again love the no judgment aspect of how Quo kind of just like rides that line of balance of just like being conscious about how everybody is unique and like balancing your chakras. Everybody's going to balance those very uniquely. You know, like we have a fingerprint. Everybody has a unique fingerprint. Everybody has a unique way they'll balance things. Everybody will have a unique diet. Everybody will have a unique uh, like everything you do is pretty much unique to you, so you need to figure out yourself and know yourself, you know. So for me, like I like to experiment with my consciousness, you know, like I like to research different drugs. And like I used to not really be into this at all. I used to be super straight edge, you know, but actually what led me to my spiritual seeking was actually trying acid for the first time. And then I just had this like thought that came into my head because at this point I was a very kind of like straight edge conservative Christian, you know. And like this thought came into my head and I felt like it was Jesus talking to me when it came through. And it was just like, hey, you either need to take spirituality really seriously or you need to like drop it and become like an atheist, you know, and then just like rebuild your spirituality. Because it felt like I was just going through the routines of church at the time. Like I would go a lot, but I wasn't really taking it seriously. And when people like brought up spiritual concepts or anything like that, or brought up Jesus, like I would shy away hard from those conversations. But this is like, I went to church every week, you know, but I would be kind of just like, oh, I don't want to talk about things like that. I just want to talk about light, stupid, you know, shallow conversations and just like kind of hide from actually getting deep into those things. So it's just like that voice came through. It's just like, you're not really taking this seriously. Like you have this knowledge and information. You like to read the Bible and stuff, but just like, how are you actually applying that to your life outside of church and like just using church as like kind of like a social gathering country club kind of thing, you know? Like it's great to be able like to have community, but at the same time, it's like it wasn't like a very strong kind of pivotal thing in my life. So when I had heard this voice from this acid experience, I decided that okay, well, I have two choices here. Obviously, like take it seriously or drop everything, rebuild my spirituality. But I chose to like really dive into the Bible and actually start reading it for and making my own interpretations instead of just like listening to somebody else's interpretations weekly, you know, just like having like building my own foundation of what I thought it means, you know, and having that experience. So I mean, so for me, like not necessarily like I had to have that like the acid experience to get to where I am now, but that was definitely a huge catalyst in my life that led me down this path of seeking. So yeah, I appreciated it.
Super interesting. Appreciate your sharing that. I have not done acid. I've done mushrooms more than a few times,
Mm,
but acid to me just felt a little bit farther than I wanted to go. Where are you
yeah.
at these days with alcohol and psychedelics? Do you partake
Oh
in
yeah.
any of those things on a at all regular basis?
Yeah,
Michael?
semi-regular basis. Yeah, I mean, like last night or 2 nights ago, we went to like this Renegade, which is like a party kind of festival in
In the
like the
woods.
woods. Yeah, it's just like EDM music, like hippie people just like dancing around barefoot, just like it's just like you know that whole like ecstatic dance kind of movement crowd and like kind of new age, but they were really I feel like a little bit more grounded than you see some kind of new age stuff out there. It's just like ah, not for me. But yeah, so we took a little bit of shrooms, and this is like I had like a really crazy breakthrough that I haven't had with any psychedelics before. It's like I was taking them and I could feel myself coming up, and then we did like this sound bath meditation, and I was like so focused in on my meditation that once like I came out of it, I was stone cold sober, but with just like this high clarity, like of seeing everything. I don't know, like it was crystal clear, but I was stone cold sober. And so I was like, oh man, I feel like I have unlocked the next level of my brain because you hear about the stories like the monks and things like that, being able to take like a lot of hard, like a huge dose of something and then like not feel anything. So I was like, oh, I get it now. I have a little bit of flavor of that experience of just like my mind just brought me, I don't know, to a higher state, but I don't even feel like I normally feel when I'm taking the drugs. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
That's a great story. What a great experience. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Desi, any thoughts to add? Where are you at on all of this stuff?
Yeah, similarly, I do partake in psychedelics from time to time. Yeah, psychedelics and like MDMA are kind of like the two main that I enjoy. I've kind of cut back on alcohol a lot, but
Mm.
it's one of those things like if I'm out with friends and they like, "Oh, can I get you a drink?" Like I'm not gonna say no. Um, so I will drink like every now and then. Um, but way less than I used to. And when I was younger, I think I abused alcohol a bit. And so in my mind, I have a resistance towards it just because I don't get as much out of it in the moment. So it's not as enjoyable in the moment, and it's also not enjoyable later. So it's like kind of like I have no and I didn't feel that way in the past. And so I guess my consciousness or my feelings towards it changed, and eventually it was like not a chore to give it up. It was just like I don't even want it. Um and that's similar with a diet where it's like maybe initially it's hard to do the diet, but once you get to the consciousness level where you're like, I want to do good for my body, I it's not an obligation anymore. It's done out of love. But I also don't want to feel like I'm judging people who do choose to drink, because that's their own life and I don't want to judge them for that. So yeah, for me, psychedelics, MDMA, sometimes weed, but to me, it's like it's unpredictable on what it will do for me. It'll either make me paranoid or it'll make me giggly, and I don't like that it's so random like that.
Well, you clearly haven't done it enough.
Maybe not.
I used to get a lot of paranoid experiences, but it's been a long
Yeah.
time since then.
And mushrooms also too, it's kind of hit or miss as far as like, do I get too introspective? And I think it's all set and setting and like kind of your mental state before you intake those things. I do want to be more intentional with the psychedelics in the sense of like, if I'm going to partake in it, be like, okay, I'm doing this. What am I trying to learn out of this? Or even if it's just like, oh, I'm just trying to have a good time, like that I know that that's the intention rather than just kind of taking them without a lot of thought,
Makes all the difference in the world. For our viewers and me who don't know, what is MDMA again? What exactly is that?
MDMA,
I've heard
others
of it.
know it as others know it as Molly, if that's more familiar to people. But from what I understand, it's just a drug that releases your serotonin kind of all at once. So you get all those feelings of happiness and love kind of just flood your body. And so it's like anything in excess, it's bad because I think you can deplete your serotonin. And so then it's hard for you to, maintain your mood. So I think if you're going to do Molly, I think you have to be mindful of that. And like, yeah, but I think you also have to do it with people that you trust, because it can make you a little bit more, I don't know, trusting or loving. And so if you're in a bad group of, not to say bad people, but like in a group of people that maybe don't have your best interests at heart, that's not maybe the drug to take around them. But with people that you trust and love, I feel like it can open up your heart. That's what I feel with it. It just
That's what it
opens up
sounds
your
like.
heart
That's what I
chakra.
was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just opens up your heart chakra to a level sometimes where you're just like, I didn't know I could feel this much love, And I have noticed though because I've probably used MDMA for years now, off and on, that recently I've noticed that I don't peak quite as high. And I don't know, I'm not saying that I'm more spiritual now or anything like that, but it could just be the Molly that we have is maybe not as strong, or it could just be that if you've done it too often, it kind of loses its effects. Or it could just be like Michael was saying, how like sometimes when people are in a different conscious state, the drug much like it doesn't sway your consciousness quite as much as if you're brand new to them, perhaps. So I still
Jesse,
haven't figured
your
out
audio went out for a
why
little
that
bit of a
change has
stretch.
occurred. But it is curious. Yeah.
Desi, your audio
No.
went out for a
Oh no.
stretch. We kind of lost what you were
Let's
saying
see.
for
I
about a
think kind of
minute.
what I said, perhaps.
Oh,
Maybe just for the last.
Okay.
Can
Can you hear me?
you hear me now?
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
I can go over that again then.
Just the key points of what you
What
just
I was
said, if
saying
you
with
wouldn't mind repeating it.
yeah. Yeah, that the MDMA is just like a heart opener. So it helps you just open your heart chakra for love over time. I felt less of the peak, less of that kind of, I don't know if it's just because, when you reach a certain conscious state, psychedelics and other drugs don't kind of affect you as much. Similar to like Ram Dass's guru that he gave him acid and the guy's like, I don't feel anything. So it's like, it could be something of like that nature. It could be that once you do these things too often, maybe your body starts not reacting to them quite as strongly. Or it could be a mixture of all those things. But
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I know Quo has said probably more than a couple of times in other sessions where the subject came up, they said that there's nothing you can achieve, no state of consciousness you can achieve with psychedelics that you could not accomplish without them. I'm not sure if I really
Right.
agree with that 100% from my personal experience with them, but
Hmm.
I get the gist of what they're saying of not using it
Yeah,
as a crutch for your spiritual growth and
exactly.
development.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Michael one time had a meditation where he felt like he was on Molly.
Oh yeah.
So like I think there is something to meditative states where you can kind of reach those peak experiences that you do get through psychedelics or MDMA, but you're doing it purely just from like raising your vibration rather than using a supplement to help facilitate that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and again, I mean, every soul is different, every journey is unique, and I've been drinking alcohol and smoking cannabis responsibly since I was like age 15 or 16. And I'm
Yeah.
63 by now. I think I've kind of figured out how to do it without, making
Yeah.
the same kind of stupid mistakes that I've done
Yeah.
Hmm.
before without hurting anybody. Yeah, I think there's been a couple times when I've done that in the past. But as you said, I think if you approach it consciously with the intent to help you polarize more positively, help with your spiritual growth, be of more service to others, then yeah, sure, any of those things could. I certainly partake in them regularly when I'm writing these episodes, so seems to help for the
Nice.
podcasting part at least.
Yeah. Gets those creative juices going more.
Yeah, sometimes I'll drink tequila while we're doing the podcast. Today I'm drinking water, but
Nice.
on any other given day, could be tequila. And if you can't tell the difference,
Fair.
then who gives a shit?
Mm.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well, it's a little early in the morning here in
Mhm.
Seattle time.
Yeah. For
It is
tequila.
before noon, but it would not be the first time I've had tequila before noon, just because I love it. It's a beautiful drink, and you can drink it anytime. Think I did have one other passage to look at on this subject. Did you guys have
Mhm.
anything
Sounds
to
good.
say on this passage before we look at one last passage?
Ooh, I'll tell one little MDMA story if I could.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
so the first time I did MDMA, Des shared some with me. Des has been like the person who like helps me, I don't know, expand even more, like even through like bringing in knowledge, spiritual texts, guidance, just like the psychedelics, just. But she gave me Molly for the first time, and I was so nervous about taking it. I'm so nervous about taking any drug at first, so I like was holding this thing for a while. I was just like kind of freaking out. Do I want to take this or not? And then I remember taking it, and then like nothing happened like an hour and a half into it. And usually it hits you within like 30 minutes or so. So I'm like an hour and a half in, and I'm so holding on to this concept in my head. It's just like I'm freaking out. So it's like not hitting me. And so Des is like, let's go on a walk. So we're like walking around our neighborhood at like midnight or something like that. And we have this like neighborhood pool that's nearby. Of course, it's closed at this time, but then we were just like, hey, let's jump the fence and just jump into the pool. And as soon as like we jumped into the pool, I remember like my brain releasing like this like fear that I had, and I came out of the water, and it just hit me so hard, and I just like full open heart chakra. I felt like love that I've never felt before in my life, but at that time, but it showed me that there's such a higher capacity for love that now I can tap into those fields without taking the drug. And so the drug just showed me like there's way more to love and openness than I was just like holding on to at that point in my life. So it's like I wasn't being able to break through just because I thought I knew what love was, but I was completely wrong about the feelings that you could have from love. So yeah,
It wasn't
MDMA
the
is love.
drug. It wasn't the drug. It was the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to go
Right.
swimming whenever you want to get out.
Right. Maybe it was like the reason why it took so long for the effects to come on was that you were kind of resisting, or there was like a control
Mhm.
element, and then maybe like jumping in the pool, which is a very like free and almost like childlike thing to do,
Yeah.
kind of like and it's physical too, like you're in water, which water is emotional
Mhm.
energy, and so it kind of maybe let you feel into your emotions more.
Yeah, it got me
Yeah.
out of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you
Did
out of
it
your head and more into your water. Yeah.
did it feel like a baptism experience for you coming from
Oh
conservative
yeah, it
Christianity?
was definitely a baptism experience. When I look back on it, it was just baptized in love, and it was just like, oh, okay, I can take my love to the next level, and there's gonna be levels and levels and levels and levels of that. Of course, I haven't reached the
Mhm.
pinnacle of it. That showed me that there is just more love to reach. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind as you were talking about it. I was sure you were going to say after not feeling, you said, well, we should do some more.
Oh
I
yeah.
was sure that's where you were going, and you took a totally different
No, not
direction.
at that
No.
point. I'm always a chicken to try new drugs, acid, Molly, any of it. Just like, oh, I don't know. I'm just freaking out. It's just like, I don't trust my mind, or I didn't trust my mind at that point in life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What a beautiful experience, though. What a beautiful story. Thank you so much for
Hmm.
sharing. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's at least one or two viewers out there who found that super inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so.
Hope so, yeah.
Let's take a look at one more passage. This is from September 17th in 1987, and this is the entity known as Latwii, who is one third of the entity known as Quo, fifth density, I believe. Latwii said, "We wish to speak about that which is so often removed from the point of view of spiritual seekers, and that is the sense of humor, the sense of proportion, and the light touch. It would seem that when a seeker tackles the great questions of truth and life and being, every effort must be focused, and there is no time for frivolity. Yet the greatest lessons are those learned by balanced souls, and usually the balance of an incarnated soul is the product of a generous sprinkling of the small vices, excesses, and overages of your earth. This makes each seeker aware of its own imperfection and allows the seeker to see the cosmic humor of living in physical vehicles made of clay." Really love that passage, especially the part about the generous sprinkling of small vices, since obviously that's something that I can relate to a lot in my personal path. But yeah, yeah, I hope our viewers appreciate these passages and realize that they don't need permission from Ra or Quo in order to do any of these things that we've been talking about. But yeah, keeping yourself centered on being of service to others, following the positive path, trying to grow spiritually and grow closer to Creator. I think that's the most important thing. Anything else I'm thinking is just details. Did you have any thoughts on anything here, Michael?
Yeah, I just love the sense of humor part. Just like bringing levity in and just like it just goes back to joy, and not taking things too seriously. So yeah, I love that. And then let me see. And then just everything just comes back down to balance, knowing yourself, knowing what you can tolerate, knowing what's going to be helpful for your path or hinder you. So yeah, that's all I hear when I look at this passage.
Yeah.
Yeah, sense of humor is so important for sure.
Mhm.
I've been enjoying watching roast battles on YouTube.
Oh
I don't know if
yeah.
you are familiar with that genre of comedy, but Austin is a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
great place for stand-up
It
comedy,
is.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially roast comedy. And it's mean. I mean, it is two people staying on stage saying the worst, most heinous things they can about each other and laughing at the worst things that have
Yeah.
happened to them, whether it's having abusive parents or
Mhm.
suicide attempts or addiction issues, you name it. But being able to laugh at it and make it a positive thing is it really is
Hmm.
something joyful, and I take a perverse pleasure in. Since I'm an otherwise nice guy, I think, but that's nasty stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, any thoughts, Desi?
Yeah.
Anything on anything?
Yeah, just like I feel like keeping in mind like the light touch and the sense of humor of like I think when you are pursuing something, it's almost a good sign when it's effortless rather than you're efforting so much. I feel like it's maybe out of flow. Like if your diet is so restrictive that it takes a massive amount of effort to like abide by. I feel like that's like even it may be a perfectly good diet, but maybe you're just not at that frequency for that to be in flow. And it's more about raising your consciousness to where the diet that you demand or you desire is something that effortlessly comes to you that's in flow and natural. I don't think the creator intended us to be suffering, limiting ourselves. I think it has to come from a place where you feel abundant, that you feel full in like the choices that you're making.
Well said. Goes back to doing it with joy and love
Mhm.
yet again, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, appreciate that. While we're talking about humor and comedy, I forgot to mention those roast battles I talked about. They are funny when people are saying horrible things about each other. It's a joke writing contest. They're trying to do it in
Yeah.
ways that are funny. And yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. Do you guys have any favorite sources of humor or comedy?
Ooh, I
Yeah.
mean, I like kind of awkward, kind of cringe stuff like The Office, you know? It's just like, oh, that's just kind of in bad taste. But I do like roast battles and stuff like that too. But because I see that more like now, I have the lens of seeing that more of like shadow work. They're diving into like their negative personalities and being able to talk about that. A lot of people repress those things and are scared to talk about them, and it's like that's not healthy either. So I think it's better to at least have somebody roast you so you can see how you feel about it and just kind of address those issues that might be kind of haunting you in a way. So it's just shadow work in a different way.
I think that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. For sure. They are definitely taking things that are really deep and dark within themselves and experiences that for sure have been traumatic. But rather than keeping them inside, being able to bring them out in public and be able to laugh at them in a positive
Yeah, exactly.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just like not falling into like a victim consciousness of it. Like sometimes you hear stand-up comedy and it goes into like victim kind of poor me kind of thing. And
Hmm.
it's like, of course, that's kind of shadow work too. But a lot of like the ones I relate to or I think are a little bit higher vibration is like when they can talk about that, but they feel healed from it. It's just like not
Yeah.
like they're trying to get attention from it, but it's just like this is something I've gone through. You can go through it too, and I've gotten better on the other side of that. So it's just yeah, I really enjoy like deep like dark stuff. I mean, maybe that's because I'm a Scorpio, and I'm just really into that kind of like a transformation and rebirth kind of yeah mentality. So it's like I love hearing the dark stuff in the world, you know, and the transformation from that. Yeah.
And that seems to be a direction that stand-up comedy has gone in the last,
Hmm.
Yes.
I don't know,
Yeah.
several years. That really was not part of the form before that. But yeah, yeah, I agree. And if they can do it in a funny way, then yeah, that's great stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Desi? Any favorite sources of
Um,
humor for you?
I think for my favorite comment is probably Dave Chappelle. I think he has a way of shining the light on societal issues and just like individual issues in a way that's fun and almost gives you more clarity. Like I think
Mhm.
sometimes the humor is it's tough to sometimes look at difficult problems, but if you add humor to it, somehow it like kind of unlocks things in your mind of like, oh, this is really absurd. And like, why do we live this way? So I
Sure.
think it's helpful for people to understand problems that way. And I agree with Michael. And like sometimes I don't like the comedians. They're like too self-deprecating to
Mhm.
the point where they're you can tell that they haven't healed from the thing, like they're still deep in the muck of and it's like it's almost like it lacks the funniness to me because I
Mhm.
feel bad for them. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh man, this person's still struggling with this." Like
Mhm.
I don't feel comfortable laughing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, versus like someone who's like, "Oh my God, I went through this crazy thing." And you can just tell by their energy that they're past it and they're
Mhm.
just like kind of like informing you of something and that while it's still self-deprecating because the intention is like more from joy and not from like oh woe is me, it feels better. I feel like I can laugh more than if that's not there.
For
But
sure.
yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, and I would say Dave Chappelle is probably my number one favorite stand-up comic
Yeah.
too. Such a gifted,
Yeah.
brilliant, talented comedian and great storyteller, for sure.
Hmm.
If you haven't seen it, I think for folks who get Netflix, there's a recording of when he received the Mark Twain Prize. And not only are
Okay.
there a lot of excerpts from the show, of course, but a lot of other behind the scenes and telling stories. And so much of his life seems to be about making memories. I think whenever
Mm.
people ask him for a selfie or a picture with him, he always says, "We're making memories, not photos
Oh,
here." And that
yeah.
so much of what he does is about taking really sad, tragic things and being able to alchemize them into something beautiful. I remember, sorry, I'm going off on a little bit, but yeah, there was a story in that Mark
Oh, you're
Twain
good.
Prize thing where I think Jon Stewart was on stage talking about how there was a mass shooting in Ohio, not that far from where Chappelle lives. And obviously, it was devastating to so many people who lived there. And he had a concert there not that far from where the sighting happened and invited some of his friends to come out and make people laugh again. And at some point, when they were standing off to the side, Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart, listening to somebody else perform their humor, he said, "These are the memories they're going to have now. We're changing the memories that they have of this place from something horrible into something beautiful." And I'm thinking, that's really powerful spiritual magic there. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's transformative and alchemizing. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Anything else, you guys? Any thoughts you had on anything here before we wrap things up? I think this was the last passage.
Yeah, not that I can think of, but I mean, I just think that I guess comedy's in a really good place right now. I think people are being able to be vulnerable. They have complete free speech, it's like they don't really get canceled that much, so it's just like I really just like stand-up comedy just where it is right now. So
There's more platforms too, like social media, where like anyone can share their comedy. So it's like more people have access to get their humor out,
yeah.
which is cool.
For sure. Yeah, I would think it is in many ways a golden age for comedy. And we haven't even talked about memes yet. I love internet memes.
Oh, I love memes. I love memes. So good.
It's a great way to share humor, and especially about difficult things that people are going through. And anybody can do it. Anybody can make a meme or share a meme or something like that. So
Yep.
sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Where do we go from here? What are some takeaway lessons that we might carry from our time together? I can think of a few. For one thing, every soul and spiritual journey is unique. So again, there's no one size fits all with regard to anything that you put into your mouth. Find the thing that's right for you. And that means eating foods that show respect for self, whatever that means, whatever you take into your body, make it something that you do respect and do value and do love and not feel guilty or ashamed about. And yeah, if you can, giving thanks for every animal, plant, spirit that gave its life and consciousness to feed you, and to our beautiful Mother Earth from where all of those things came. And lastly, being happy about what you take into your energy body is in many ways more important than it being healthy for your physical body. So chill out and enjoy, as somebody said at some point. Desi, do you have any takeaway lessons of your own you want to add, or last thoughts, reflections on the subject?
Yeah, I mean, I think you gave a beautiful summary there, that it's just every being is unique, their needs are unique, and they will change over time. So you have to respect your pace of where you're at with that, and I think eventually when you raise your consciousness to a certain level, like the actions that align with that will be effortless and won't be out of obligation. They'll be out of joy, and that's when it'll be long lasting. It won't be like a temporary diet. It'll be something that you can hold moving forward.
Well said. Agree 100%. Michael, anything to add?
Oh man, I think y'all just nailed it. Like I love this list, and yeah, I have nothing to add to this. It's perfect as is for me.
As are you guys, perfect as is. And I did want to let our viewers know that if you enjoyed hanging out with Michael and Desi today, check out their podcast on Spotify called Live from Clown World. You guys want to share a little bit about it? Let our viewers know what's it about, what you do?
Yeah, so we started our podcast on Valentine's Day of 2024. That was our Valentine's gift to each other. We've been talking about doing a podcast for a while. And it started with like Des always likes to research crazy conspiracy theories and just kind of bounce them off of me. And then just like going through like news headlines and then trying to put that kind of funny, comedic, kind of spiritual twist and lens on things. And so from there, it kind of evolved to like more couples therapy. So we'll like talk about our arguments, and we'll have like live arguments on the show about things we don't agree on together. But it's just like cool to like let that vulnerable side out and not just like always trying to put your best foot forward kind of thing. It's just like, it's really great to hear how you sound in an argument. It's like, am I coming off really mean? Do I sound like an asshole? Or am I still like trying to show love, maybe in a more tough kind of way, or respecting myself, you know? So it's like it's good to hear that back. But I mean, it's been really fun, and we're on episode. We just released episode 52 yesterday
Yesterday.
because we were trying to get ready for this podcast today. So just making sure we're getting back into
Get
the
back in the
flow.
groove,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we'll take weeks off at a time, sometimes months off, but it's just always fun to be locked into conversations in a podcast. Like that's what I love about podcasting. It's just like it locks you into a conversation. Nobody's on their phone. Everybody's consciousness is just like dialed in.
Focused.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
focused in. So yeah, that's I love our show. It's just like we'll talk about any kind of crazy thing, and we just try to let the authenticity fly. So yeah, anything to add, Des?
Yeah, I mean, I've just really enjoyed podcasting with you. I agree. It's just like it zeroes you in, like no phone distractions, no anything. It's just like we're having this conversation, and sometimes having those, I want to call them arguments, but discussions about our relationship dynamics is helpful, because I notice that when we are talking through the podcast, that we're maybe because we are like no other people are listening, so we're like on our page. So there's like it's a balance, like you're sharing something that's on your mind and on your heart, but you're doing it in like the most loving way. And so I think that's like a nice thing about the podcast for that aspect of things. And then just putting a spiritual lens on things, like we always add, you know, kind of what does the law of one say about the situation, or and then the conspiracy theories also, you know, involving aliens and whatnot. It's also very law of one-y as well. But I've just really enjoyed it, and I just hope we keep the podcast going, and it'll be fun to see its evolution over time.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
to like 5 years from now, listen to a podcast from 2024 or 23 and be like, wow, like we've changed a lot. You know, it's almost like a journal of our evolution.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, highly recommended to our viewers. I've watched a few episodes and really enjoyed them all, and love the way you guys vibe off each other and do all those things that you just talked about. So check them out, viewers. Otherwise, before we let you go today, we have one more thing to do, and that is our pop quiz. Pop quiz is just something we like to do at the end of our podcast to end our otherwise serious conversations on a fun note, and maybe look for some Law of One connections in pop culture. So since today was about eating healthy, it seems only appropriate we should have a pop quiz on junk foods. So I am going to ask you 3 questions about 3 popular junk foods. See how many you can answer correctly. You who are watching this on video, go ahead, say your answers out loud. We can hear you through the screen. As always, the points don't matter. If you had fun, you won. If you learned something new and interesting about one of your favorite junk foods or pop culture, you won as well. Are you guys ready for your first question?
Let's do it.
All right. Doritos. Which of the following is not a flavor of Doritos sold outside the United States? Is it A, tuna mayonnaise, B, yogurt and mint, C, pickles and mustard, or D, paprika? Go ahead, say your answers out loud.
My first thought is A, but I kind of want to switch it to yogurt and mint, just because like I feel like tuna mayonnaise is too crazy. So like I'm like maybe something less crazy. So I'm gonna go with B, yogurt and mint.
Yeah, I was gonna go with yogurt and mint too, because that just doesn't want that to be true.
Nice. Well, as a matter of fact, yogurt and mint Doritos are in fact sold in Turkey. Tuna mayonnaise Doritos are in fact sold in Japan, and pure paprika Doritos are in fact sold in Belgium. Pickles and mustard, to my knowledge, is not one that's been invented yet, but it sounds like it should be somewhere. Do you guys like Doritos? Do you eat them very often?
Yeah, if I eat chips, I just like the regular Lay's flavor. I don't really like flavored chips that much, unless it's like maybe like hot Cheetos or something. But I think I OD'd on them as a kid, so it's like it's kind of too much.
I kind of prefer the original flavors in most cases. So like if I add Doritos, I probably just eat like the regular, you know, Doritos, but it's not something I crave necessarily. Yeah.
Miriam and I love Doritos. Love the Cool Ranch ones. That's probably my go-to. But those spicy, sweet chili ones in the purple bag on the screen, also super delicious.
I mean, I'll eat them if they're in front of me, but I'm probably not going to go out and get them.
Nice. Let's try second question. How about this? What candy did Elliot use to lure E.T. out of the forest in E.T. Extraterrestrial? Was it A, M&M's, B, Reese's Pieces, C, Hershey's Kisses, or D, Skittles?
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess M&M's.
Oh,
Nice.
it's definitely Reese's Pieces. I love this movie.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Do you remember that, Michael, or are you just guessing that?
Oh, no, I think it's Reese's Pieces. They look like M&Ms at first, but once you, yeah, watch the movie, you only see like yellow and orange ones, and that's
Oh,
like,
Nice.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
you are
sure,
correct.
yes. More I think,
Apparently, Steven Spielberg really wanted to use M&Ms, and he approached the Mars company asking them if they could, and for whatever reason, Mars declined. I have no idea, but they
that's
missed
so
out on a
weird.
great marketing
I
possibility there.
know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he
This
went
is
to
also
Hershey's, and
Hershey's,
apparently he wanted to use Hershey's Kisses, but I guess
oh,
Reese's Pieces were new on the market at the time, and they wanted to
Mhm.
promote that, so that's what they
I
used.
see.
Yeah. Not a big Reese's fan. Are you guys Reese's Pieces fans? I do like M&Ms. Not a fan of Reese's Pieces.
I'll eat them. Yeah, it's not like my go-to candy, but I enjoy them.
oh yeah, I like Reese's Pieces, like the little candies, the little buttercup things, like the chocolate and peanut butter. That does it for me. So yeah, I'm in on it.
Nice. You know, I have to admit, it was years after it came out that I finally got around to watching E.T. and probably rented it from fucking Blockbuster Video or
Yeah.
something. I don't remember being all that impressed with it. I came away wondering, I wasn't really sure why everyone was making such a big deal out of it. Did you guys, well, obviously Michael did. Did you guys enjoy the movie? Is it like one of your favorite movies about extraterrestrials?
Yeah.
For me, yeah, it was one of my first movies. Like, actually, my parents told me that when this movie came out, or when I watched it, I was like 2 or 3 years old. But I would always cry at the end of it when it was like, when ET was like going back to his home planet with like Out Elliot, and like my parents would tell me like this is like the first movie that I had some like really big emotional kind of connection with. And
Mm.
then, yeah, I don't know, like what it is about this movie. Even when I watch it today, I still it's like I really get into it. Just like even just from like the crazy corn scene of just like and it's like showing extraterrestrials in a different light. Like, yes, they are scary, but at the other point, they're just like really friendly, here to connect with you, here to show you different psychic powers and just things that help you unlock your mind and expand your consciousness. So, yeah, when I watch it, I'm just like, yeah, I love this movie.
That's a great Law of One connection there. And it's true. It
Yeah.
seems like the vast majority of movies about ETs is about some hostile invasion.
hmm
So,
Hmm.
hadn't really thought of that. How about you, Desi? Did you like the movie?
I did. I feel like I watched it really young, so I don't quite remember it super well. But yeah, I think I have positive memories about it. Like I remember the bicycle scenes where they're biking around with the I thought was so cool. I was like, I want a little alien friend
Yeah.
to like ride my bike around with.
You guys
But yeah,
have a
my favorite
favorite?
alien movies are, I guess, like more recent. For me, I think I really like the movie Arrival, if you've watched that one.
Me
Um,
too.
it's yeah, I guess the aliens come and they have a linguist who's trying to decipher what they're saying, and it's so cool to think of like how much language dictates how we think. It just blows my mind that
Mhm.
something as simple as that kind of already kind of constrains you in a way in this 3D world.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. That is probably my number one favorite movie too, and one that I hear a lot about from Law of One folks. There seem to be a lot of
Yeah.
connections there, and it's not just a story about aliens, as you said. It's really actually a
No,
story about people. It's a story about this
and
woman who has what could be considered a really horrific thing happen to her, involving her child, and in the end, she even knowing that what's going to happen, she's willing to go ahead and experience the hardship again for love, I guess, for the
Mm.
experience.
right. It's kind of a time bending movie as well,
Oh,
so
sure.
yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really different way of looking at time travel. It's not your usual
Right.
time travel movie. This
Hmm.
is about communication through time,
Hmm.
which is
Through time.
something I haven't really seen. Yeah, beautifully done. Do you have a favorite movie about ETs, Michael?
Ooh, I like the movie Signs, but it's more of like a negative kind of entity of aliens coming down to take over the planet. But I just love how that movie's shot, and just like I don't know, the storytelling of that movie is like really good to me for some
What's
reason.
it
It just
called
like
again? I
brings me
don't think I
back
know
to
that
like
one.
Signs. Yeah, Signs with
Oh,
it's like an M Night
Signs. Oh, with
Shyamalan
Mel
movie.
Gibson.
Yeah, it's like the
M.
only
Night
like M
Shyamalan.
Night Shyamalan movie that I really like. But I don't know why. But anytime it's on, I get captured into it and just like yeah, it's cool.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Well done. Well, let's do one more question. You guys ready for your last question? This
Sure.
Yeah.
is actually true false question. True or false? Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it.
I think that's
Something you've
true.
Yeah,
probably
I think
heard
it's
many
true.
times.
I've heard of
Everybody's
this.
heard it.
Yeah.
Question is,
Yeah, I
did
think
it?
it's
In fact?
true. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I'll go with true.
True.
Indeed. Yeah, it is true. Originally, Coca-Cola was marketed as a popular non-alcoholic drink during the Prohibition years, but it was originally sold as a non-prescription medicine, kind of an elixir or tonic, as it were. And when it was first invented in the late 19th century, the two key ingredients were cocaine from coca leaves and caffeine from the cola nut. Cola these days is spelled with a K, but at that time it was spelled with a C. So that's where the
Mm.
name Coca-Cola came from. They stopped using it, I believe, in 1929. But yeah, originally it had an estimated 9 grams of cocaine per glass, where the average line of cocaine has about 50 to 70 milligrams. So could certainly understand
Okay.
why people who enjoyed it enjoyed it felt a
Wait,
little bit of a
so
lift.
wait, Coca-Cola had 9 grams
And a
of
typical line
cocaine?
has 50, so it had like
50
one
milligrams.
50 milligrams.
That's less than
Wait,
milligrams are less than grams, right?
wait.
So there was way more cocaine in the Coke than a standard line of cocaine? Is
No,
that what I'm
no.
guessing? Okay,
One
the
glass
opposite.
originally had 9 milligrams of cocaine.
Milligrams,
Okay.
gotcha. I
So like
thought the
Average
9
line of
grams. I was like,
Coke has
whoa.
50 to 75 milligrams. So about, I don't know, 1/5 of the.
Okay, yeah, I heard that wrong, and yeah,
So
never mind.
Have you guys done Coke?
Okay.
I've only done Coke a couple of times. Can't say I really enjoyed it all that much.
Yeah.
Whoop, losing you, Michael.
Never really like called to me. It's like not a drug that I really wanted to try that much. Oh,
Oh, yeah. Low network.
let's see.
Lost your audio, so only heard a
Back on?
little bit of what you said, but am I correct in understanding that you have tried Coke and didn't necessarily enjoy it that much?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I think I lost internet connection for a second. But yeah, I tried cocaine once, but it never really called to me. And then when me and Desiree went to Colombia one time, and I was like trying to buy weed, but nobody would sell me weed unless I bought Coke too. So I had to
I
buy
think you told this
cocaine.
story at the gathering. I think I've heard
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
So I had to buy cocaine just to get the weed. And then so I was like, well, it's Colombia. I had to buy the Coke. I have the Coke. If I'm going to try it, it's going to be in this situation. So I tried it, and it was like the way it made me feel was like I felt really good, but I felt like a super asshole that could, I don't know. I didn't like how it made me feel. It was like way too much confidence and arrogance. And I was like, already perceive these things in myself anyways. I'm already trying to like mitigate them. So it was just like it kind of just like ramped them up in a way. I was just like, no, I don't like this feeling at all. Like I felt like I could do anything. I could jump off a house. I could just like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
it would
only
explain why so many people did enjoy it for all of those
Mhm.
things that you just described.
Yeah, for the confidence boost or yeah, whatever. But I didn't like that.
Yeah, at first I'm thinking that maybe for someone who is less confident, maybe having it just to experience that like elevated confidence, not like all the time or only through that drug, but just to maybe sense what that is if they don't know it off the hand.
Yeah.
But I've only tried a few times, including in Colombia, and same. I just it didn't resonate with me as much. Like I didn't really like. I feel like yeah, it made me more confident, I guess, or
Hmm.
but it just wasn't as like MDMA is like heart opening, and I think cocaine seems almost like more ego boosting.
Yeah.
It just like
The
I'm.
takey energy.
It's a takey
Yeah.
energy.
It's like
I can picture that.
starts
Yeah.
to be kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
I just remember it tasted really chemically to me and didn't
Yeah,
really enjoy that in particular. And the
yeah, and it doesn't last that
sensations,
long.
yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a lot of cons,
A
not
lot
many
of
pros.
cons.
Well, sure want to thank you guys for being here. It would appear that you have wasted 2 perfectly good hours of your preciously short incarnation fucking around on the Seattle Law of One podcast. Really appreciate your being there, though, and thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To you who are watching this on video in the near or distant future, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We are sending you our love light, and we are receiving yours. Until next time, in the love and light of the one infinite creator, Adonai, Namaste. Say goodbye, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you
see
so
y'all next
much.
time.
See you next time.